So Ruben Amorim has changed a lot of Manchester United already, but it's pretty plain to see after just 2 games, Steve, there's still more that needs fixing. And whether it's him and his relationships with the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, or Onana seems to be off in the wilderness, or whether it's just positions on the pitch, there's still things that need to be sorted. So we're going to go through what we think Amorim and Manchester United in particular need to fix before United are actually going to be back winning big trophies. First of all, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I want United to start winning some football matches, but other than that, I'm pretty good. It's been a week of this Mainoo thing has really sort of snowballed, hasn't it, in the last kind of couple of days. Another game where we didn't win, no more minutes for Mainoo.
Do you think his agent is just doing his agent job of force United to do something, either play him or force a move maybe?
Or force a new contract? I don't know.
He is in the middle of contract negotiations, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I saw some reports coming out saying that he wants 100k, he wants 130k. It depends who's briefing that and why. That might be the club briefing it because they don't want to keep him. That might be his agent briefing it for 7 different reasons. Like, you always have to consider the source of that news and then what are they trying to do. That news doesn't come out for nothing. So there's always an angle. So what's the angle?
With Mainoo generally, where are you in terms of how much he should be playing and where he should be playing? Because it seems like Ruben Amorim's gone from saying he could play in multiple different positions to actually it's just him or Bruno, and obviously that means Bruno. Are you worried about the sort of trajectory of Mainoo and Amorim's relationship and therefore his career?
No, I tend not to worry about players blocking other players. And I think a lot of people kind of get tied up with that. Now, I know ultimately it didn't work. And for, unfortunately, a small percentage of our audience, but usually the vocal minority of our audience, the Wibble writers in the comments, they're not going to understand this that I'm about to say. But I think those with a brain will understand it. Marcus Rashford was at the club in 2015 when we signed Anthony Martial. Technically, you could have said Anthony Martial's going to block the progression of Marcus Rashford. Then we signed Sanchez. And I think around about that time, not far after that time, we signed Lukaku. And then we brought Mkhitaryan in. And if you look at the amount of people that were meant to have stopped Marcus Rashford's progression into the team, he still played, 250, 300 games, whatever it is that he's played?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Somewhere in that ballpark, right? So I don't worry about players having players signed in their position and blocking them necessarily. Now, sometimes it happens, and you do see the club make mistakes. We made a mistake, I think, with Ahmad and not giving him minutes under Ten Hag. I think we absolutely made a mistake with Alvaro Fernandez and not giving him the opportunity. Maybe Malassi was chosen over him. I think that was probably a mistake, especially when you look at the likely career trajectories of both of those players now. But by and large, as a broad sort of thing, I don't tend to worry about players getting minutes. Now, for the individual player, yeah, he should worry. But what I tend to think is the cream rises to the top. And I don't think there's any negatives to working hard. And if I was looking after any player, not just Mainoo, but let's just say Mainoo for argument's sake, so people can get it into their head a little bit about what's going on with Kobbie Mainoo. I think you've had a challenge laid down to you. Is he 19 or 20?
He's 20.
There's not a lot in it, really, is there?
No.
When you look at what the likes of Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Nicky Butt were doing at 19 and 20, I don't think there's a rush necessarily to get in. I know he broke through at 18. He got a lot of minutes under Erik Ten Hag in a midfield 3. You're now in a manager situation who plays a midfield 2, and one of those positions is basically permanently locked off because that guy plays even injured. So there's probably one slot in a team, and I'm not sure both of you can play together, especially if the gaffer sees you as the same position. But what I would be saying to Kobbie Mainoo is, cool, are you the first in training? And are you the last out? Or are you the last in and the first out? Are you going to Cleggy and saying, how do I be the strongest at the team?
Cleggy being, for people who don't know,
the strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
First team strength and conditioning coach. I would be saying, how do I, what's the one criticism people have of him? He's not fast enough. You're not going to turn him into Usain Bolt. can you get an extra 10% out of him? Would that be impactful enough on the football pitch? Is he doing all of those things? If the answer is yes, I could understand the frustration. If the answer is no, that he isn't the first in and the last out, and he isn't mithering the coaches, and you're in a very privileged position as a footballer. And there's no negatives to hard work, in my opinion, with this. He isn't playing every single minute of every single game. So you're not looking at the potential of burnout with him in this sense. So train your cock and balls off. Be in there all day, every day. Have someone pull you aside and go home. At least once. Because that sort of shit gets through to the manager. That's the sort of shit where you can then look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing all I can do. If they don't recognise it, that's on them. But you know what will happen is, it'll still benefit you in the long run. Because you'll leave this club and you'll go and smash it somewhere. Or that immovable force will get injured and you'll step into the team and keep your place. There are no negatives to you just going to town on yourself and putting the work in. And that's what I would say to every single player, regardless of whether it's Mainoo, regardless of it's Rasmus Højlund. We've said that all the time. Like, have you got hold of Andy Cole or Ruud van Nistelrooy or any of those and gone, hey, I've got 2 hours free every day, make me a better striker? The resources that honestly, like, I know Rio spoke to Lenny Euro, and he spoke to him about using his hands defending. Especially, was it Semenyo that cooked him that one game?
No, it wasn't. It was a Southampton player, wasn't it? I'll have a think and get back to you.
Rio spoke to him after that game. Has that happened since?
No.
Right. That's what your job is as a footballer, is to find your weaknesses, plug those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. And I would say Lenny Euro has done that. Lenny Euro has gone and done the work and made himself better. And that's what I think every single, not just young player, but every single professional footballer, this is your profession. Why are you going home at 10:30 after training? You should honestly be like, you should literally be at the point where people are like, do you not have a house? Do you want to go home?
Yeah.
The biggest example of that is Cristiano Ronaldo. And he was all right.
He was. And I do agree with you. I mean, it was Sulemana, by the way, for Southampton, similar sounding name, I guess, that you're a struggle against. With Mainoo in particular, I think he also represents something a bit wider, doesn't he? Because not just is he an exciting midfielder in a position that we're struggling in at the moment, the midfield's getting bypassed occasionally, but he's also kind of the last of the academy lads. He's the last player that not just would tick the box of an academy player in each individual squad since 1930, whatever it is.
30th of October 1937.
Thank you very much. He's realistically the only one that could start 5 games in a row or be an actual first team player. No one else is even especially now Garnacho and Rashford are gone, or close to being gone. I feel as though he almost represents, don't go away from what we are. Do you think that the manager do you think he understands that? Do you think he will know that one way or another, whether it's Mainoo or someone else, you have to kind of be Manchester United through all of this?
Do you know what the most beautiful thing about that academy record is? Is that it hasn't been awarded for tokenism.
Yeah.
The most beautiful thing about the almost 90-year consecutive record, which I think the nearest one is Ajax with 25 years, or something along those lines, or Barcelona with 25. There is no one within 50 years of it, put it that way.
Yeah.
It is an outrageous record. But do you know what the most beautiful thing about that record is? Is that it's not a tokenism. And it hasn't just been selected because X, Y, and Z. And it's because there's been academy players that have been worthy of getting a start or a bench place for Manchester United. So I'm not saying let it die. I'm absolutely not saying that, because you can't replace almost 90 years of history. You can't be like, okay, day one. You can't do that. You can, I guess. But I also wouldn't want to see us just sitting somebody on the bench so that record doesn't go away. Because what is the most beautiful thing about that record is it's been a meritocracy, that we have selected players that we grew ourselves because they're good enough to represent Manchester United. Now, you're right, Kobbie Mainoo does represent the only one that you could see becoming a starter right now.
Yeah.
Could Tyler Fredrickson? Does an injury happen to one of the starting centre-halves and you find Tyler Fredrickson playing 5 or 6 games? He shocked me how good he was last season. Maybe, right? Looking at Collier's now gone off on loan. There isn't really anybody else that you think could come through. And I know after 3 years, the likes of Aiden Heaven, because of the age that we signed them, and Chido Obi would technically become homegrown by the sort of UEFA and FIFA rules. But they're Arsenal Academy products, aren't they?
Yeah.
We know. We know. It's like when someone tries to give you fucking can't believe it's not butter. You're like, we know.
Yeah. It's not right.
This is fucking not right, this.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to see anybody selected just so the record doesn't go away. I think that the most beautiful thing about the record is that it's existed for so long because there's been players good enough to uphold that standard.
And we've been successful with those players as well, just to put the cherry on top of it. Moving on to another area then, the goalkeeper situation. It looks as though we're on the way to signing Le Mans. He's become a little bit sort of stubborn with this whole Bayendir and Onana thing, because Onana started pretty much every game he was fit last year, and then all of a sudden is just not the goalkeeper anymore. Do you think that getting a new keeper in, a younger guy, 17 million, it's not a Donnarumma style signing like we could have potentially entertained? Is that what you would have done with that? Is that how you would have resolved that?
Probably not, no. I don't know if I still think that he's coming in. I thought he was coming in to be a backup. I thought he was coming to replace Bayendir.
Okay.
However, the way the start of the season has gone, and it's kind of like, Bayendir is the number one. I still think he's coming in to replace Bayendir, but my sort of ranking of where Bayendir is to where I thought he is has changed. And that means obviously where I thought Onana is to where he actually is has changed. So I'm kind of thinking that he's coming in as like possible number one.
Mm.
Now he's got some good attributes, but he doesn't have experience of, certainly not having English football experience, but he doesn't have enough real top experience in a top 5 league. That's a little bit of a worry. But he does have the option of not needing to start straight away. Although there's people in the comments go, he absolutely does.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. I don't rate Bayendir.
No.
And I think the problems with Onana have been massively exaggerated. However, the gaffer's clearly got a pea in his bonnet with him for whatever reason. After he didn't need to. This is what's interesting about the way Amorim discussed what went on at the start of the season. He could have quite easily said, Onana's still not match fit yet for the Arsenal game. No one would have batted an eyelid at him saying that. They didn't make sense.
He's not been there all pre-season. Of course he's not match fit.
Yeah, and everyone would have just carried on normal jogging. The fact that he went, I didn't want to pick him.
Yeah.
Everyone went, what? Wait, what? And then it became an issue for the second game because everyone was like, oh, he clearly now has got a problem. So he's created this problem. It is on him now to fix this problem.
Mm. Lastly, I feel as though in this world of Mainoo and Bruno fighting for one spot, and shots of Mainoo looking a little bit glum on the bench and all that.
Oh, the one of him getting back on the team bus was. Yeah. He just needed a bit of the Waltons music playing over it, didn't it?
It was very sad, wasn't it? But I almost feel like we're forgetting the fact that we've got 33-year-old Casemiro who looked past it 2 years ago, starting every game next to that position. What would you do there? Because it's clearly won't belabour. It's not, it doesn't look like we're going to get him. Would you just wait? Would you not get anyone? Would you try and get a younger? But we talked about this before. Would you get an older head who's been there and done it? How would you address that? Or would you just go into the season with it Casemiro and Ugarte until at least January?
I think we played a blinder with the window. Probably better than anybody thought we were probably going to play. So we've ended up in this situation where you've got a good few weeks since our last signing. Okay, you got a keeper who might end up being first choice, but no one ever really thinks of it like that. Everyone's just looking at that midfield and going, bro, can we sort this? And you've got the sort of sword of Damocles hanging over you with, do you like that as a reference?
It's lovely. One of my favourites.
With Bruno Fernandes and Saudi.
Mm.
And there's things that could happen there. with this could be an absolute blockbuster end to the window. What's been a blockbuster window anyway?
Yeah.
Because it is very quiet. One, we haven't sold any of the Gone squad.
No.
We still haven't managed to raise funds for a single player. Would you put it past United just going, anyway, there's 100 million and all of these issues that we think we have with Bruno Fernandes, we've just psyched you all because Bruno's gone, Balaba's in, and it's Mainoo and Balaba that will be starting the next Premier League match.
I mean, I could see it, but I don't get the feeling Amorim would want to play Mainoo. And not never again, but like...
But if you don't have Bruno and he's competing with Bruno, then...
Yeah. Would you do that?
I think it's an option. I don't know how realistic an option it is. I think it's an option. I think that's... Okay, let's call that option one.
Yeah.
Is that. Option two might be that you let Bruno go to Brighton on loan as part of any deal for Balaba. I don't know how you're affording that, but I don't know, write the check and see what happens, I guess.
Right.
Another option might be bring somebody like a Stiller in. People are talking Wharton. I think if you've got Wharton money, you've got Balaba money.
Yeah.
Some people are talking Wharton and Balaba. Maybe that's a move. Maybe you send Mainoo on loan to Brighton, you sell Bruno to Saudi, you bring in Wharton and Balaba, and everyone's head falls off towards the end of the window.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you can do nothing. I don't think you can go in with Bruno, a sulky Mainoo, Ugarte and Casemiro as your only midfield options.
That'll work for me.
Does Jim Thwaites come through and save the day and save the academy record and blow everyone's minds?
Yeah.
Someone like that needs to feature tomorrow against Grimsby for us to have any option of that happening, I think. And I don't know if that's going to happen because I think it'll be Ugarte and Mainoo tomorrow. Yeah,
me too. Still need sorting. 6 days left. Still plenty of time to do a couple of deals. I mean, surely Garnacho, Sancho and Anthony are going to leave somehow.
On loan.
Oh, God, let's hope not. We haven't even got into all that, but I think we'll leave it at the midfield and goalkeeper for now. Cheers, Steve. Thank you at home for joining us. Let us know your thoughts, not just on the Mainoo situation, what is going on next to Bruno, not Bruno's position. We've got 33-year-olds starting there and he doesn't seem to like Ugarte anymore, so that needs solving as well. Get your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you in a bit.